All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here, and we have some more ranked gameplay. Today, we're actually going to be using and showcasing Sylveon, Giratina, and Greninja. So something that I'm sure all of you guys are very familiar with, but when I was looking for decks to play here on the channel, I really noticed that this is, again, the #1 deck in the game over the last few weeks, and we haven't actually played with it at all on the channel. So I figured, why not? Let's just go ahead and do it. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this deck pretty extensively. This is a pretty standard version of the list. We've gotten 2 Cyrus, 1 Mars, 1 Red Card, 1 Giant Cape, 2 Pokeball, 2 Research, 2 Rare Candy, 2 Froakie, 2 Greninja, 2 Sylveon, 2 Eevee, 1 Giratina. All very standard stuff. The only things that can really change about this deck list that I've seen are whether or not you want to play, 1 Red Card or 1 Mars, or maybe cut one of those hand disruption cards for maybe something like an Irida. But for the most part, this is kind of what most people are playing. I do think hand disruption is very valuable in the format right now with all of those rare candy cards. This deck list is very interesting because not only is it the most played deck, it's been the most successful deck, both in ranked mode and in tournaments, I would say, for the most part. But when you look at its data and its matchup data on the Limitless page, what you see is that the win rates for this deck list in all of its matchups against the other most popular decks of the format are pretty close to 50%, but they're usually below 50%. Which really means that this is the deck that's driving the metagame, it's driving the format right now, but a lot of the other most played decks are actually fairly advantageous into it. But it beats basically everything else in the format that's not really considered to be a top meta deck, which is why I think it's a really good choice for people looking to go, from Great Ball to Ultra Ball to Master Ball. We are still at about 2,000 points in Master Ball. We don't think we've actually played much over the last few weeks, so again, we're definitely far behind. Now we're unranked. Being almost 2,000 points and being unranked is absolutely crazy, but anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's dive right into this. And not a deck list that I've really played much at all, and I have not played much Pocket at all in terms of ranked battles over the last few weeks, so it's tough. We've been busy. A lot going on in my personal life for sure. And then, of course, very busy with the YouTube. So I spend most of my time, watching other people play the game, seeing what decks other people play, going through the data, going through the deck lists, and not so much testing as I do early on in the format. Again, we got to 2,000 points very early on with Charizard. Since then, we haven't really played a whole lot of ranked mode. We're leading off with Froakie in the active spot. We do have Greninja, Pokeball, and Research, and Mars in our hand, and it looks like we will be going up against Buzzwole and Pheromosa. Again, I'm very much not off the top of my head. I don't really know what the best matchups are for this deck list, so we'll have to go ahead and see. Of course, I do think that, we have at least very good chances to beat every deck in the game just by the sheer power of this deck list, and I do think that's one of the biggest upsides, one of the biggest advantages when you're playing this deck is that you don't have really any true hard counters, right? There's no matchups where your win rate is phenomenally low. So it's kind of interesting in that sense. Really, everything that we're going to be going up against, we're going to have a decent chance of winning. Our opponent gets down the Celesteela, goes into it because he is going first. That should give us an energy attachment advantage, and we do see the double Pheromosa, which confirms that he is likely playing 2 copies of Cyrus as well. So good information to know here. I would say the most important part of this deck list is probably knowing exactly which Pokemon we want to target with Greninja, and probably sequencing a little bit with all of the draw options in the deck list there. So we're going to play Pokeball first. We definitely are going to bench this Eevee, and we do have a Froakie in the active spot, so we got to keep that in mind. We're going to play the Research right off the bat. Our opponent played Pokeball, Research on his first turn, which is great. And we draw just an absolutely perfect hand, if we're being honest with you. Now, the other really important part of this deck list is to always be aware of which energies are in your energy zone. And the reason for that is because we're playing dual energies. So you want to think ahead a little bit. As we see, we have double water in the energy zone here. I'm actually not going to basically end my turn, or I'm not going to attack this turn. I'm going to end my turn by Broken Space Bellowing with Giratina, but I probably am just going to attach to the active here because we're probably going to have to retreat to some degree, and that 10 damage on the Celesteela isn't very important. We're definitely going to end our turn with Broken Space Bellow. We have 4 card draw in our hand here with Sylveon and Research. Pretty likely that we go into a Rare Candy Greninja next turn and maybe draw a Cyrus as well. So a lot of potential here. Our opponent actually attaches to the Pheromosa. We do not see the Buzzwole yet, and I assume he's probably going to target the Giratina. I would say that's probably the #1 most important thing for him, purely off the fact that Buzzwole wants to be able to take KOs on Giratina, right? That's the most important thing. The second Greninja gets drawn here, which is interesting, and he does have a 5-card hand now. So we're going to play the Sylveon first because we might end up playing Mars this turn. And we'll have to see exactly what we pull here off the Sylveon. But we could also just attach to Greninja here and take the KO. So we got to also kind of plan out accordingly. We only have one Giratina in the deck, so we have to be a little bit careful as to how we utilize Giratina or when we kind of have to bail on it. There's the rare candy, just like we knew we would probably be drawing there. And we also draw the red card, which is massive, right? So now we can play research and red card in the same turn, which is phenomenal. So we will be evolving the Greninja here. Now we could take the KO on the active Pheromosa this turn, and that actually isn't a bad idea. But again, we have to keep in mind the ability for our opponent to play Lusamine while also basically like setting up and attacking with Buzzwole all in one turn, which is why I'm actually not going to be, this is an interesting, I'm not actually going to be attacking the Pheromosa yet, because we want to build up Giratina, and then with the Cyrus that we now have in hand, we're going to want to bring up Buzzwole that turn and then attack with it. So what I'm actually going to do here is just Water Shuriken really quickly. The number one prime target here will be the Celesteela. The Pheromosas really aren't important here, and then we're going to end our turn with Broken Space Bellow, going almost all the way to timer here, which is funny. So yeah, we want to build up Giratina, and if he does bench Buzzwole, that's the target that we want to bring up. We don't want to KO anything else until he benches that Buzzwole, because we don't want him to revenge KO our Giratina with Buzzwole, right? So here comes the Cyrus, again, stalling us just a little bit, which is, again, a proper play from our opponent. I like this play from our opponent, actually. And I think that this is a smart decision. He's going to get some more damage off on Giratina, but like I said, we're not killing anything. He hasn't benched the Buzzwole yet, and I'm honestly assuming that he probably will bench the Buzzwole here later on, or he's going to hold it in his hand, which is probably the smart decision. Cyrus isn't doing anything for us like this turn either, so we're going to Water Shuriken once again. Since we've already gotten damage off on the Celesteela, what I'm actually going to do here is potentially we can target the Pheromosa. It doesn't necessarily matter, but I think we probably want to target Celesteela again still. He might not have the Buzzwole, like I said, and it doesn't actually matter if we stay in the active spot here or not, so I'm not going to even retreat. What we're going to do is just attach to... I guess we'll just attach. We've had only exclusively water energies in our zone so far. We're going to be going on 4 in a row. So the decision to Broken Space Bellow was definitely the smart play here. Yeah, let's just attach to Sylveon this turn and Broken Space Bellow. So he doesn't have a Buzzwole yet. But like I said, we don't really mind, right? We don't really mind if he does have the Buzzwole. If he benches it this turn, then we just target it and KO it. That he's probably... Okay, so the Celesteela comes down. All right, so I'm curious now, and he actually attaches to this Celesteela, which is very interesting. Probably going to try to take a KO with the Celesteela. Likely that he probably does have a Lusamine in hand, if we're being honest with you. And the Giant Cape is also pretty relevant here. Okay, so a lot of interesting stuff that we can do here. We got to be really careful, because we haven't seen the Buzzwole yet. He's got 9 cards in deck. We could retreat with Giratina and then KO the active with Buzzwole, or we could use a Cyrus. We have both Cyruses, but we want to keep one for sure, just in case. The only issue here is that I don't want Giratina to go down to the Celesteela, but we know he has 1 extra copy of Cyrus in his deck. So what I'm actually going to do yet again is Water Shuriken this Celesteela. I'm going to attach to Greninja, and I'm going to retreat manually because we have a Psychic Energy in our zone next turn. All very interesting stuff here. Now, the Giant Cape, what do we want to attach the Giant Cape to? I guess, who does it matter, I guess, is what I'm curious about. If we attach it to Giratina, then that protects us from... He has to Lusamine next turn, so he can't Cyrus either way. I think we will just attach it to Giratina. I think that's fine. And we are going to Broken Space Bellow. Okay. So the reason we brought up Greninja in the active spot this turn and bellowed is because we don't really mind if we take more damage because we got plenty of time here, right? And he can't Lusamine and what is it? He can't Lusamine and Cyrus in the same turn. He's already played 1 Cyrus. So we're playing the long game here, and he's setting up this Celesteela. So what we're gonna do now, quite honestly, is just KO the active. This Psychic Energy can go onto Sylveon. We're gonna bench this Eevee. I'm not confident at all on how we're playing this this deck here. But anyway, it's going to come down to a coin flip for sure. Definitely. So I think he's going to attack with Celesteela next turn regardless. But do we want to use one of the Cyruses just to KO this Celesteela first for 0 energies. That's the only thing I'm debating. I think I am actually. So I'm going to use this, and the next turn probably use Mars. It's going to be an interesting scenario for sure. Let's Water Shuriken. I don't think it really matters now who we're hitting with Water Shuriken, but I'm just going to hit the other Celesteela. We're going to KO this. This keeps 0 energy in his energy zone, unless he manually retreats, which he definitely can do. But this basically means that he can't set a Buzzwole this turn either, and if he benches it, then we just KO it with Giratina, and that's GG. So that's what this matchup comes down to, is him holding that Buzzwole in hand. If he doesn't KO us here, then that's fine, because we can Mars him next turn, reduce the odds of him even having Buzzwole in hand after we take the KO. He goes into Pheromosa. Again, a very interesting play for sure. Yeah, he retreats, so he's getting energy in his zone here. This is important. But does he bench the Buzzwole? We've got 3 cards in deck. We're going to draw through into our entire deck this turn. He benches the Buzzwole. Okay, so probably attaching a Leaf Cape here as well is what I would assume. He's got to be, yeah. He red cards us. Okay, so that's interesting. We do have a Sylveon left, and I think we have a Research left. Rare Candy, not useful. Pokeball, not useful. Greninja, not useful. Okay, very, very bad cards, actually. And he does get the second energy onto the Buzzwole. Okay, so we have a lot of opportunities to top deck a win condition this game. The Mars, or the red card, Lusamine play there, I think probably was his best bet, but what do we draw? It's Sylveon. Okay. I was going to say, because we've definitely have... we should have played the Pokeball first, although we have... Do we have a Froakie in the deck? I think we do. All right, we misplayed there. I think we should have Pokeballed first, but anyway. Very likely for us to get our Cyrus, yeah. I think the last card in our deck is actually Greninja, or Froakie, so we could have thrown the game just there. Yeah, okay, we should have played the Pokeball for sure, but we had the win condition guaranteed, unfortunately, for our opponent there, even though we misplayed. But the likelihood of us not winning there was very, very slim. So we were kind of just stalling in a very interesting way, for sure. But it really just came down to the fact that, you know, he was kind of forced to bench this Buzzwole this turn, which, again, you know, is kind of how it goes. So that's why we played 2 Cyrus in the deck for sure. We definitely didn't play that perfectly, but I think that we were kind of just playing in a way that, you know, the game was slowly creeping forward. Our opponent was playing correctly in the sense that he wasn't benching that Buzzwole, because he would have been definitely in a tough spot if he ever did bench it. That play from our opponent where he played red card, benched Buzzwole, and then in the Lusamine was actually the correct play. Although at that given time, we were basically guaranteed to draw the second Cyrus. Technically, we weren't. We could have been our last card in our deck because we misplayed. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to leave that in. Definitely should have Pokeballed there first to pull the Froakie out of the deck and then guaranteed to draw the Cyrus. But anyway, never punished. Never punished, for sure. That matchup seems fine for us. I don't know. I just think Buzzwole probably struggles in that matchup. I don't know what they can possibly really do. We also got a bit unlucky too. Like we got 4 or 5 like water energies in a row in our energy zone. Probably the mirror match now. Double Research, Froakie lead, Greninja in hand, going first as well. Okay, we'll see what we can do here. The mirror matchup definitely just comes down to who draws their cards, but both of us are probably moving through our decks so quickly that it, you know, probably doesn't even matter that much. I will say if we get okay, good. I was gonna say if getting Giratina out early here is probably gonna be the biggest advantage. If our opponent just doesn't draw his Giratina, then he's going to be at a significant disadvantage. And since we're going first, and the Eevee's huge. Okay, this is massive. An incredible start. Our deck list here, you would think it's inconsistent because we're only playing 1 Giratina, and it's such an important early game card. But for whatever the reason, I feel like this deck list doesn't struggle to get Giratina out on turn 1 or turn 2, which is kind of crazy if you really think about it. Our opponent's also going to lead turn 1 Research. He has Eevee in the active spot going second, but he does have back-to-back water energies, which is really relevant. So let's see if he gets a Giratina down this turn. We see the Froakie, we attach to the Eevee, and no Giratina, which is really, really important, right? Especially considering we're going to Research, and we also have an Eevee on the bench. The chances of us finding a rare candy this turn are actually quite high, and we even have Cyrus in hand as well. So we're going to play our second Research, 10 cards in deck. There's a Cyrus, and there's a Giant Cape. Okay, so no rare candy shenanigans this turn, which is definitely a little bit unfortunate. Since he's got back-to-back water energies, we're safe. All of our Pokemon are safe. They're not getting KO'd this turn. So what I am going to do is Giant Cape the... In this matchup, it's interesting, huh? Does it really matter where we attach Giant Cape? Probably not. No one's playing any healing. He could be playing Irida. Irida is certainly something that can help him in the mirror matchup to some degree. But we're going to Giant Cape the Giratina still. It's our only 2 prize Pokemon that we're probably going to ever put in the active spot. So we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to actually double up on Giratina this turn. The thing with Giratina is even with Psychic Energies, like we can't attack until our third turn no matter what, and we're not in the active spot, right? So we're not attacking next turn either way. We do have double Greninja and Cyrus. Okay, so he does get the rare candy combo off, but no Giratina yet, right? No, there's no Giratina yet, which is certainly fine for us, but he does get the Sylveon down. Okay, so he's cruising for sure. Absolutely cruising. We might have to bench this Froakie, because he does have a Psychic Energy in his zone that turn. This Pokeball comes down. Does he find his Giratina? That's going to be really important. He got the first Greninja out, but does he get his Giratina out as well? Okay, he also draws into research. So he's flying through his deck. He's +3 card advantage right now. And there's the Giratina. Okay, so he's a turn behind on Giratina. We have 3 Psychic on our Giratina, which is important. And he's also going to cape his. Okay. So what's really important for us here basically is to get our Greninja down. If not, we're basically just doing nothing this entire game, which doesn't feel very good. But I guess it's not the end of the world. And there's a Pokeball, also not really useful, but it is going to thin a card out of our deck. Okay, so we have 6 cards in the deck now with double Sylveon and double Rare Candy, with also Mars and Red card. Okay, sure. All right, so what do we want to do here? This is an interesting scenario, right? He does have a Psychic Energy in his zone next turn. I think the best bet here for us, actually, and this sounds crazy, I'm going to bench this Froakie just because in case he KOs are active. But what I am going to do is actually attach and then get 10 damage off on his active here. And this is going to basically allow us, because if he attacks next turn, he's not going to Broken Space Bellow, right? And he's still a turn behind on Giratina. So we have Cyrus in hand. We can kick the KO on the Sylveon EX next turn. Probably force him to retreat, but if he retreats, what's he going to go into, right? That's the main question. So I think we're still in a fine position. We just need to draw something next turn, whether it's, I guess we played both of our, we need Sylveon or Rare Candy next turn. Let's see what he hits with Water Shuriken. It's got to be Giratina. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be. Maybe he pops an early Cyrus to bring us in here. He's going to double up here on Giratina. That's, again, the smart play, 100%. And it kind of puts us in a losing position as well. Honestly, like, I don't know. It's really, really interesting. Okay. Because we have no healing, right? Okay, all right. Yeah, he's got to double up here. Okay, so our Giratina is cooked next turn. We do have Rare Candy. Okay, so we have to be now hyper aggressive, unfortunately. Which is, again, probably fine. We can actually Rare Candy the... We have to retreat anyway. I'm just going to Rare Candy the active Greninja. So we have to be hyper aggressive here, and we have to get damage off on their Giratina. Now, if he has Irida, or if he's playing Irida, and he has it in hand, then that puts us in a really bad spot. Predominantly because he's going to heal up and then not get KO'd, and we're just going to be in an awkward position overall, right? So anyway, Hand Disruption would be super good here. Unfortunately, we don't have it. So we have to target their Giratina and then bring them up with our Cyrus. And then just hit with our Giratina. We're not taking the KO here, for sure, right? We're not taking the KO, but if he KOs us and he doesn't have healing, then he also gets KO'd, right? And we're still a turn ahead. So we're kind of doing the only thing that we can do. But unfortunately for us, our opponent does have energy on his Greninja and his Sylveon, which we don't, right? So that's probably going to end up, that's going to result in us probably losing this game, unless we have some really serious, like a Mars coming. But anyway. This is our only play here, because we got to assume he has his Cyrus in hand. There's no other way to play this game. So we'll get the damage off, and yeah, if he plays healing, we lose. But also, even if he doesn't play healing, we probably still lose, honestly. He's going to Rare Candy up his second Greninja. That's very, very good for him, because now he can take a KO on one of our basics pretty easily. Yeah, that's definitely really good for him. Okay, but we have another Cyrus, so, you know, it's pretty awkward. And he has to attach to... Yeah, okay. All right. I think we're in a bad spot here either way, because he's going to... Yeah, we lose next turn regardless, just because unless we draw like into our Sylveon and we kind of cruise through our deck, he's going to take the KO here, and then he knows basically he'll be able to KO my Greninja next turn no matter what, which kind of feels bad unless we can Rare Candy into it. So we'll see what we can do here. We'll have to see what we can do. We're going to just go into the Eevee because it doesn't really matter. We know he's got Cyrus. We have our Rare Candy. Okay. So we lose anyway because we don't have our Sylveon. We have 4 cards in deck with double Sylveon. Our opponent just drew his Pokemon better, basically, is what this comes down to. But we do have a Cyrus, so we can Water Shuriken the Greninja here. and then Cyrus it up. That's kind of our only condition here. So to force him to not be able to attack next turn, I guess is the only out that we have, unfortunately. Let's just bench this Eevee. And we're going to attach to it. And I guess we just Water Shuriken. Do we split here? We do, actually. Yeah, let's split on the Greninja. And then we're going to collect, right? You can't attack next turn. This is our only play. And it's a horrible play, but it's literally our only play. I guess there's a Sylveon. Okay, so we still have Mars in the deck. We could get lucky with a Mars play here. He's got 7 cards total. I think we lose this game no matter what. I don't think we can win. We're down both of our Cyruses, and he's played 0, which I think effectively means we lose here. But anyway, let's see what we can possibly do here. He has to play Cyrus this turn. He has Irida. He actually has the Irida, but he benched the Eevee. Yeah, we lose anyway. Oh, wait. He forgot to attach before Irida. He Irida before he attached to the active. That's crazy. I don't think it actually matters, but that's crazy. It's crazy that he did that. Absolutely wild. Yeah, I think we lose anyway just to the pings, because we know he's got Cyrus, right? We can maybe Mars him to 1. If he's playing Irida, maybe he only has 1 Cyrus. So maybe we draw into Mars, we get lucky. He's going to go into this Greninja. Yeah, we're all out of Cyruses, so he's full HP. There's nothing we can really do. Let's go ahead and evolve up our Sylveons, draw through our deck, and we're going to hope Mars sticks, and that's basically our win condition here. Actually, it doesn't, because this Greninja is going to die no matter what, and there's nothing we can do about it, because we're just a turn behind. It kind of feels bad for sure. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, our opponent just kind of had his double Greninja out like early, like he just didn't, like we just didn't have him. So our Greninja unfortunately goes down. The Irida actually did end up winning him the game here in this mirror matchup. It's certainly really, really good. No two ways about that. 70 plus 40 is unfortunately 110. So yeah, nothing we can do there. We had to use our Cyrus or else we lost that turn. So yeah, it feels bad. But you know what? You can't win them all. You can't win them all. Our opponent just unfortunately got a little bit lucky. A little bit more lucky, I should say, than we did. Yes, we had the first Giratina out, but he ended up getting the Psychic Energy in his zone and then getting Greninja, both Greninja out, actually, before we did, which effectively, I think, lost us the game there. And he had Irida. If he didn't have Irida, then he lost, right? I think. Yeah, because we had split energies, so he misplayed there, but theoretically speaking, it didn't matter because, yeah. He's going to BM us with the red card, so good for him. The mirror matchup's interesting. Irida definitely is the card that'll win you the mirror matchup. I think it objectively makes the deck worse, though. Oh, he BM'd me twice, yeah, with the Cyrus. He had it anyway. He's probably playing 1 copy of Cyrus, or maybe he cut the Mars for the Irida. It's definitely interesting. In the mirror matchup, you could definitely say that cutting maybe 1 red card or Mars for Irida would be more beneficial. But in the same vein, I think that Irida objectively just isn't as useful of a card in basically every other matchup. But if you're playing the mirror matchup a lot, then it would certainly be important for sure. But I think if you looked at all of the decks that you'd be going up against, there are probably a lot of the rare candy decks, like Charizard and Solgaleo and stuff like that. We'll take the L there. Our opponent definitely just sort of, he just kind of pulled it out, right? There's nothing that we really could have done there. Honestly, I don't think there really was. I think we were kind of toast. All right, guys. So listen, we are on turn 5 now. I believe turn 5. We led Giratina into an Oricorio in the active spot. We have drawn through red card, Mars, Sylveon, rare candy, Cyrus, rare candy, Sylveon, and Greninja. And with 10 cards in deck, we currently have 2 Eevee, 2 Froakie, 2 Pokeball, and 2 Professor's Research. So RIP to us. We are going to Broken Space Bellow for the 4th time in a row. And unfortunately, lose a matchup, which shouldn't be a bad matchup for us at all. Giratina, though, does have 9 energies, so that is pretty cool. All right, on to the next game. It's been a rough showcase for what a lot of people consider the #1 deck in the game. In fact, I'll put it up on the screen. We did a poll on the community tab of the channel here on YouTube. About like 15 to 20,000 people voted in the poll. The majority of people did say that Sylveon, Greninja, and Giratina was the best deck in the game. And I don't disagree with that. All of the numbers, all of the results do say so. But in this video, in this small sample size, again, small samples aren't everything, is certainly been a massive struggle for sure. And it looks like we're going up against an Electro-type deck as well. This Froakie here does not love to stare down a Zeraora. I will say it that much for sure. But we do have Greninja. So I guess that's something at least. And we have rare candy. So Anyway, let's play the Pokeball and play the research. This might be the last game here. I like to keep in most of the gameplay. Last game was absolutely horrible. Our hand, this is actually not that bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually just gonna pop the red card here because you know, I don't want him to like red card us or whatever because we have a pretty good hand. Yeah, in this few games that we played here with this deck list on the channel, hasn't gone very well. In fact, we lost to the mirror match. We lost to Charizard. We beat, what was the first deck we played that we beat? I honestly I don't even remember what it was. What deck did we play in game number 1? I somehow I already forget. Oh, it was Buzzwole. Yeah, we beat Buzzwole. Okay, he goes double up on Zera here. And we actually draw into the Cyrus as well, which is pretty funny. So, okay. Let's draw the Sylveon or play the Sylveon this turn. And see if we can make something happen here. Another Sylveon and a Giant Cape. Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty bad. It's really not good. It's tough. We also going back-to-back Psychic Energies, which is abysmal for us, actually. That is absolutely horrible. Giant Cape actually doesn't do anything for us here in the scenario either, which is really, really bad. I'm just going to target the Oricorio. And I'm actually just going to attach and retreat, which is really bad, but it's literally our only option here. And I'm just going to cape the Sylveon. All right, so our hand is also terrible. We do have Cyrus, but it's pretty bad. We could actually just play the Cyrus this turn and not get attacked. Maybe that's the best case scenario, actually. Back-to-back Psychic Energies in a Froakie lead is not what you want, but yeah, we'll just burn the one Cyrus. We do have 2 in the deck, so we're gonna try not to get attacked this turn. Although if he attaches to Oricorio, we can still retreat. But then he's wasting the energy for sure. So we're just kind of stalling now while we whittle down Oricorio with Greninja. He's going to attach, but does he retreat? Oh, he's just going to Dawn. Okay, so he burns the Dawn to do 50 to the active, which is very interesting. Definitely. Probably the better play, though. I mean, considering that he had Dawn in hand and that we have a Sylveon in the active, he doesn't even 3 at KO us, but he does have a Giovanni, definitely 2 probably in his deck. So he probably will. He capes the active as well. Okay, all right. All right. These are all fine plays from our opponent. Definitely. The Dawn's good here because... Oh, yeah, and the energy cord, which he attaches to Zero. Okay. He's got 1 card in hand, 14 cards in deck, but where he's still actually in a positive position here, considering the 2 cards in our hand are useless. So the Cyrus is super funny. Okay, all right. This is bad. We're going to do this, and we're going to just Water Shuriken the active still. And then next turn, we might have to pop this Cyrus to KO the active, which is pretty bad. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll see what's in our energy zone. It's just, it's really bad because both of these Pokemon 2-hit KO Greninja. A second Zero Aura comes down. And we get zapped. Okay, so he can KO us with Giovanni next turn, but does he do, is he going to have Giovanni? Is the big question, right? That's like the big thing that I'm genuinely curious about. I'm actually going to bench this Froakie. Now, okay, all right. This is super interesting. Because we have Cyrus in hand, so we could KO the Zero Aura here with Cyrus and hope he doesn't have Giovanni. Is that the correct play? Certainly is a question, isn't it? We're going to actually pop the Oricorio here, and I'm just going to bank on him not having Giovanni. Is actually what we're going to do here, which I know is terrible. But he's got 13 cards in the deck. We have to bank on him not having Giovanni. That's the only way we win this game. If he Giovanni's KOs the active, we lose. Okay, no Giovanni's big. For sure. Okay, all right. We're not in a horrible position here. We're just not in a good position. What's going on here? Oh, the Koko comes down. That would be fine for us if we had Giratina, but unfortunately we do not. Greninja still will live 1 attack from Tapu Koko, which is cool for sure. Okay. Man, what an awful like scenario to be in. He goes into Zera here. Tries to protect the Choreo. It's all smart plays from our opponent. Okay, so we're safe regardless, right? Because he already played Dawn. Oh, the Giratina comes down. That's hilarious. Do we bench this? All right, hold on. We got to really think. We always retreat out of Sylveon here and just, again, hope that he doesn't have Cyrus or whatever. But what we can do here is we can actually KO the Oricorio. We could bring it up with Cyrus. We could actually just bring in Greninja. Or we could stay in and KO the active, and then he revenge KOs us. Maybe that's the better play. Because we do have a water energy coming in the zone. Interesting. We want to preserve the Greninja for as long as possible, but I actually feel like Giratina might end up being like the MVP option for us here, which is crazy. So what we're going to do actually is Water Shuriken the Oricorio. This is a horrible play, I think, actually. And I think we actually, because we have a Psychic Energy coming in next zone, I think we actually just double up on Giratina, but do we give him the Sylveon or do we retreat into something else? We could go into Giratina. I'm actually going to go into Giratina here. Probably not the correct play. We're going to lose to Timer yet again, probably. But anyway, we're going to Broken Space Bellow. We're going to let him hit Giratina here. And again, we're just sort of stalling. We have to just stall. That's our only play here. Greninja can live and attack. If he pops Cyrus here... Oh, he's got Pokemon Center Lady. Okay. I didn't see that coming, actually. Does this deck normally play Pokemon Center Lady? Not that it really matters, actually, but that's interesting nonetheless. We see one energy attachment to Tapu Koko. He's still 2 turns away from attacking with it because he already played his 1 copy of Dawn. And since we have a Psychic Energy in the zone here and a Cyrus in hand, we will KO this Tapu Koko, and then I think we have game like on board, I think, basically. So let's attach to Giratina there, and we have to Bellow because Water Energy's next turn. So we're just going to Water Shuriken the Oricorio. And then we Bellow. Man, this is not going at all like we wanted it to go here. But theoretically, we should have an advantage this game. Like I don't unless he KOs something next turn. But if he does, he has to play Cyrus, right? So if he plays Cyrus this turn, he's only got 1 Cyrus in the deck. You know what I mean? So we live anything probably with Giratina in the active spot. We just KO his Tapu Koko next turn, and then we're fine. Because nothing he can hit us. He can't hit us for 70. Unless he plays red, which he might actually. Anyway, maybe he plays Guzma and he just goes 1-2 in 1 turn. He red cards us. That's actually really, really good for him. That's a crazy play. So the red card's going to take Cyrus out of our hand. Never mind, it doesn't. GG. Okay. Rare Candy's interesting as well. All right. The tables have turned dramatically. That red card could have won him the game there. The PCL into the red card is crazy. That's a crazy play from our opponent. Giratina still coming in clutch after we bring it out in like turn 5 is crazy. So he's going to hit us for 50. This is all good stuff here. And we're going to KO Koko this turn. We're just going to KO Koko this turn. For sure. There's a lot of different ways we can do this, but Koko actually is the highest damaging attacker on his board. So we always target it regardless, I think. So now I don't think he can KO 2 Pokemon in 1 turn unless he has Guzma. Yeah, he's going to concede. Okay, all right. We got very lucky there off the red card, but so did our opponent, quite frankly, with the just with that whole game. We got pretty unlucky, but we still ended up winning. This deck list does well against the Oricorio, and I think that's one of the main strengths about it, and it definitely has the ability to beat most of other decks in the game. We went probably still negative. I think we were like 2 wins, 3 losses in total, if you include that one game where we completely bricked. We beat Buzzwole, we beat Oricorio. Those are 2 good matchups. We lost to Charizard because we bricked. We lost the Mirror matchup because he got more lucky, and then we lost to whatever the deck we just played out before this was, also Oricorio Tapu Koko, because we bricked pretty heavily. But anyway, I think we showcased this deck and kind of how it can do in a lot of the different matchups in the format. So yeah, we're going to wrap up the video there, guys. Comment down below. We definitely misplayed a lot with this deck, to be honest. It's been so long since I played ranked battles, and I have very little experience even playing this deck list. So this wasn't necessarily showcasing some super high-level gameplay by any measure or any stretch of the imagination, for sure. But when you're recording and you're playing games, it's kind of tough to like not misplay or make every kind of correct play. So I'm sure I did something absolutely ridiculous or incorrect in this video, but again, I just wanted to make a video about this deck list because I really haven't yet. And again, you guys can learn from mistakes as well as good plays as well. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Stay tuned. I will be gone tomorrow and Friday, so unfortunately, there's going to be no videos for the next few or like 3 or 4 days. because I will be attending a wedding, which, you know, I do apologize, but we'll be back next week. And then, of course, we'll be getting news of A4 releases, which is going to be definitely really fun. So again, guys, peace out. Have a good one. We'll see you guys later. And yeah, bye.